What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shot of Sports podcast. Grab a drink, grab a snack. This is your weekly dose of sports where we'll break down and do a deep dive of the world of sports. Whether you're a casual fan or a diehard, we're here to bring you the latest, the best analysis, and the hottest takes. Subscribe, share, even leave a comment for us. We appreciate all the feedback. Smash the like button for us and tap the notification bell on the right so you can be notified whenever we drop so you won't miss one. Today we got on the show Azir Spencer and Chris Pittner. So, how y'all doing?
Good. Doing well.
We good over here, man. Just having a quick early lunch and ready to talk this preview of the Thunder massacring the Pacers. Looking forward to it.
It's gonna be a boring conversation, I think, because we're all gonna be on the same page with this one.
I don't know. We'll see. But I apologize. My building is experiencing a power outage, so if I do lag out, Nazir Spencer will take over the talking and stuff. So, yeah. So we're gonna talk about first. It's not really a main topic by itself, but we got Tom Thibodeau was fired. What was it? The day we like maybe a couple hours we got off the podcast, he was relieved of his duties. I mean, there's a graphic right there that the pace like Mike Brown was fired from what is it, Sacramento, a few days after he lost to the Pacers. Uh, Mike Malone fired 2 days after he lost to the Pacers, and now Tom Thibodeau was fired 3 days after his loss to the Pacers. So seems like the Pacers are just firing coaches.
Yeah, it seems like everybody offended when you lose to the Pacers because they shouldn't be losing. But that's just me. But listen, I got my opinions on Tom Thibodeau. He plays his players too much, and he has some questionable play calling down the stretch. Not this playoffs though. This playoffs he came back 4 times down 20. Won't beat the Celtics. Granted that Tatum got hurt, he was down 2-1 when he was hurt. So listen, man. The NBA, I don't know what is going on with the GMs and the owners and why they're so hard on these coaches when this guy literally just made the Eastern Conference Finals, took that team to the Eastern Conference Finals. Mike Malone took the Nuggets to wanted, got fired a year or two after because for some reason they just had some interior conflicts. I feel like you should be able to go on and fix those conflicts if you got a championship coach. Now, Tom Thibodeau is not a championship guy, but he has that championship attitude. You can tell he wants to win. Why not help him out and get him maybe one more piece? They were so close to getting to the finals. It's just the Pacers played a better series. It's that simple. But to me, man, I just don't agree with the firing. I don't think you should fire someone after making a big accomplishment like that after 25 years of not making it in the Eastern Conference Finals. I just think that's unfair, but they do what they got to do over there. Hopefully it turns out good for them.
I think that this could go 2 different ways, really. This could go where the Knicks fire him and he's the Mark Jackson to the Steve Kerr of like what the Warriors dynasty was, or something along those lines. I'm not expecting the Knicks to be a dynasty. Or it could just reinforce the stale narrative that the Knicks are just a poverty franchise, and they really were for about 10 or so years. I know one of the things that was kind of a gripe against Tibbs his entire time in New York is that his players didn't necessarily like playing for him. I want to say there was an NBA survey where it was like he was the least he was the coach that nobody would want to play for or something like that.
Perfect. No coach is perfect.
That's what I'm saying. I think I think that's all smoke. Like, ain't nobody saying that.
Obviously, 1 or 2 players aren't gonna like
right
every now and then, but the whole team, the whole organization, like, come on. If it's one person not liking them, that's their problem. Let them figure it out. They're coaches and players.
I mean, I'm just coming up with something because, to be honest, I don't understand the firing at all. I think the Knicks, this almost feels like a 1 step forward, 2 steps backward type deal, and it all depends on who they hire next. And if it makes 0 sense whatsoever, it's going to be even more perplexing why they did it in the first place.
what did you say? Perplexing? Dang, you using big old words, Jesus. But I will say that like, I mean, he's one of the most respected coaches in the league. Like, of course, there's going to be some players that's not going to get along with how he coaches and how his play style is. Probably Cam Payne was probably one of those people that didn't like him. I guarantee it. Because why? He got put in the game, he played like dog ass, and then he got benched.
That's the thing, though. Cat
Like-
was the person that you really defensively you had to blame, and Thibodeau's calling some great defensive, rotations. Had OG in, took Cat out because he was a liability. Made sure Mitchell Robinson was in with OG and Josh Hart and Brunson, and McBride would play every now and then, play some great perimeter defense. I mean, he was doing right by the team. It's just the fact that he didn't use his entire bench, which I don't think he needed to do because it got him that far. So I'm trying to put all the pieces together. Maybe why he was fired. Like maybe a player was upset with their playing time, or like in the clutch or something like that, or maybe they just didn't get along outside the arena. I feel like if you don't get along, you got to figure that out when you're this close to a championship. That's my opinion.
I mean, and they had a good playoff run too. It's not like they played bad or anything. And I don't think Tibbs coached this series bad at all. That's the thing. I just think Indy was a bit better suited matchup wise against New York. New York just had a tough time matching up with them. Tibbs did what he could. He brought in guys like Landry Shamet, gave him a chance. Obviously, he's known as the guy who only plays 6 guys, but he even tapped a little bit deeper into the bench than he normally would, just to try and find something that would work. Now, it took him a couple games to do it. However, I don't really think he did a bad job of coaching this series at all. It's just Indy was more suited against a team like this to make the finals.
They were so battle tested. They used like 10, 12 people deep. That's why I keep telling people Rick Carlisle is possibly probably the best coach in the. I wouldn't say the best coach in the league right now, but probably the best coach in these playoffs right now. Like, because Dagnall is great, but you probably have the MVP and literally like you have like 15 people on the roster that could be like being starters on some teams. So, I'm not going to hold that against Dagnall though. He is a great, fantastic coach. But Rick Carlisle, look at what he's done. Like, look at what he's changed. He turned that franchise into. He put them in back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. Now they're going to the finals this year. Yeah, they supposed to lose to the Thunder, but we can't really say that because they got as deep as a team as the Thunder do. So that's why I'm saying this might be a great finals. But as the Thibodeau, it's like people say, "Oh, he ruined Derrick Rose, bro." Injuries happen. Like, yes, we understand that. We understand maybe he could have why is he in the game when they up by like 15 with like 2 minutes left, or why are we playing him so much throughout the regular season? I get that. But back then in that time, those players were playing. Those players were not going to sit down. And the way Derrick Rose is aura, the way his demeanor was, he was going to play until they till the wheels fall off, basically, like it did. So
yeah, but I don't know. That's a little bit of a different situation. I feel like he shouldn't have played him that much, but he's known for that. So we should have saw this coming from a mile away, considering he didn't go deep into his bench and try to match that with Indy. Now, this is what makes me confused. You lose in 6 to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, but last year the Pacers got swept. Carlisle still kept his job. You know what I'm saying? I feel like some organizations just try to rush too much. Like the big markets, especially. Like I know the Bucks fired Budenholzer and Griffin, but that's a smaller market, medium-sized market. But the large markets, they're so quick to switch and want to be able to compete right away, which I understand. But it's levels to this at this point. Like you got to build teams. You can't be firing coaches and getting rid of players so quickly. Like Luka moving to the Lakers when they were just in the finals last year, it don't make no sense. And I understand they got exposed last year, but you don't see Jason Kidd getting fired. It just don't make sense. Some organizations just don't have patience, and I feel like that's a big issue when it comes to coaching. And being a coach in the NBA and NFL is so hard because you can lose your job in 1 week. So it's interesting to see how they they go about it, and hopefully their new predecessor goes on and does the same thing and maybe get to the finals next year. But we'll never know, I guess.
I mean, it was so odd. It's like these big market teams, like you said, they don't trust the process. You saw the Lakers. It ended with a chip for them in 2020 with the bubble year, but
They got rid of everybody. Right
yeah, they after Kobe retired, they went full scale rebuild, and then they ended up just trading all the pieces that they got in the rebuild. The Knicks never really rebuilt in the 2010s either, if you think about it. Through the draft, a lot of those guys were busts and ended up getting traded. And their rebuild was just signing Jalen Brunson, trading for Cat. It's like they were already in a contending spot at that point. I think those big market teams should trust the process a little bit more sometimes. And in this situation too, it's so perplexing because you go to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years with a team where a lot of people thought they were going to lose to Boston. So one could argue they even overachieved this season. They had a decent regular season. They won 50 games. They beat their first round opponent, Detroit. Then they go out and beat Boston in 6 in a statement series. And now they were a couple bounces away from going to 7 against Indy. And yeah, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. And I think if game 7 happens, the Knicks are in the finals right now. So the entire situation is just like, you can't fault that on Tibbs at all.
Yeah, man. I don't know what they're gonna do now. I don't know who they're gonna hire. I think they're looking at Jason Kidd. They're looking at people with jobs already. I don't know why they're not looking to Malone. But they're looking with people with jobs right now, which I understand. Jason Kidd's a big one because of Luka getting traded. I would personally love to see Jason Kidd in New York.
He ain't leaving knowing they about to get Cooper Flag.
Oh yeah, now.
I mean, that's a very desirable job in itself.
But
Dallas is right now.
But I mean, Cooper Flag's not going to automatically turn your franchise around. I don't think he really wants to wait after being in the finals last year. I feel like he wants to get back to that level. And the Knicks, they were 2 games away, a game away to get into the finals. So, I mean, it's not that crazy to say.
No, it's not crazy. It's just,
no, they're trying to speak with him at least to. I mean, it's very unlikely. I'm just putting names out there who I've seen that they're going to go after. So, I mean, it's not crazy to say that, but it's very unlikely. But
of course, it ain't crazy to say at all. It's just, if Jason Kidd, it comes when you coach in like big cities like New York and LA. Chicago's different because they don't have a reputation of winning everything all the time. Like when you talk about the Bulls, they haven't really been good since Derrick Rose. But when you look at jobs like the New York Knicks or the Los Angeles Lakers, or you look at teams like the Warriors, those teams are now big market teams, and now they have to focus on winning. They're supposed to win all the time. Even Boston, they're supposed to win. And if you don't win, well, now you're getting scrutinized because you're not winning. And even though you make it a deep run in the playoffs, that's still not good enough. So if he stayed in Dallas, it'd be better for him, for Jason Kidd, rather, because, you got Cooper Flag coming in. You're not supposed to be expected to do well this year because of Kyrie's injury. And, AD is, AD is AD. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think they're going to fire some coach that we ain't never really heard of. There's going to be some assistant somewhere. And, he's going to try to make a name for himself. And it's, going to come crashing down like all New York teams. So.
When you're coaching in New York, it's that big spotlight that, like you guys have been saying, it's all about just win, 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 win. And if you're not winning, Knicks fans, I watched a video one time. They know how to put fire, whatever the name is, into the chant so well for some reason. Knicks fans are like the most restless in the league too. It's like watching their team lose, they just can't do it. Them and Lakers fans are just the worst with it. And it's like these coaches, like they'll have decent seasons elsewhere, but I feel like the pressure gets to them too, just because of how the fans act all the time. And it's just always, you have to succeed immediately. And you got to trust
I didn't feel
what
no
I'm trying to
pity
get
for
at.
New York. That's why I didn't feel no pity for New York. That's why I clowned them with the street signs all the time. I really didn't care. That's why. I mean, they're a big market organization. They supposed to have a history of winning, and we celebrate second round wins. I mean, and now you fire your head coach, now it even looks even worse. So I mean, that's on them. That's the New York franchise. That's do what they do. I'm a Bulls fan, Warriors fan, and I work for the Utah Jazz. So
Warriors fan.
Since
I
when?
like the Warriors.
Since when? I never heard you talk about the Warriors. Every time I talk about Steph, everybody in the chat clown me.
Oh no, my dad's in here. He can vouch.
I've
been liking the Warriors since they drafted Steph.
Nobody ever
When
told
they
me
had
that.
him with Mark Jackson and they had Monte Ellis.
Man, don't get me started. No, don't get me started on Monte Ellis, man. He should have been the truth. But
Monte Ellis was supposed to be the guy that Klay Thompson was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be better.
But he was supposed to be the number 2. Yeah,
he was supposed to be the franchise player.
He was so inefficient. That was his problem. He just never really got that down.
Could you imagine if they had Monte Ellis coming off the bench?
It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair, bro. Monte Ellis was a bucket, bro. Man, got me happy feeling like I'm in the old Warriors days.
Yeah. So we got to move on though. But we're gonna jump into our first topic. The NBA Finals is here tonight, and I'll be at work watching it. Sadly, tonight we have Thunder Pacers game 1. That's beautiful to say. I mean, the series is here, and we've been waiting for it for what, a week? Because both teams decided to handle business in like 6 games. Well, 5 games for the Thunder, but hey, we're here though. So what are we expecting in game 1?
I expect Halliburton to get a little bit exposed on offense because he has the best guard in the league guarding him now. And I've been saying it from the start. Halliburton versus Shea. No guard in the league right now. Not even Steph on some occasions. Okay. Shea can block up
a nail that you just said.
I know. Shea can guard anybody. I've been saying it. Ant didn't stand a chance. Ja didn't stand a chance. Jamal Murray had a horrible series towards the end of the series. He didn't stand a chance. I'm trying to tell you, there's something about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander when he's on ball guarding another guard, and they just have a horrible game because he knows exactly what to do. He knows how to, gap him up. He knows how to get in their face and make sure they don't get the shot up. He knows how to disrupt plays, and it doesn't help that he has Lou Dort and Jay Williams on the wings helping him out for the other team. It doesn't help them at all. So I feel like Hallie's going to get exposed tonight. I feel like Siakam, the only way they'll win this series is if Siakam is on point the entire series, and I think that's their most important player. I've been saying that since they beat the Bucks, that Siakam is their most important player. Now Hallie is the face of their team, but we can't ignore what Siakam's been doing, man. He's always guarding the better player. I don't think he will this series because Shea's the better player, so Hallie's going to have to take that unless they put Naismith on him, which I don't think they can do because they have so many other weapons. They have Jay Williams. You know what I'm saying? They're deeper than the Pacers, and we haven't been able to see that this entire playoffs because no other team in the East is deeper than them. So the West team, the Thunder being that deep, is going to be an issue for the Pacers. And I think that a lot of people are going to get exposed, and we're going to see a lot of great basketball regardless tonight, even if Hallie has a bad game. So I think Shea's going to put up a 30 ball tonight, have fun first game. I think they're going to win their first 2 games and then lose game 3, maybe game 4. But I ultimately think he's going to be done in 5 or 6. So
the Thunder are the second youngest team since 1954, since the 1954-55 season to make the finals. Other teams, the youngest was 1976 and 77 Trailblazers. They had an average age of 25 years in 03, I think, 3 months. The Thunder this year are 25 and half in 6 months. So that is insane.
Yeah, man. You talking about Carlisle, the best coach? Look what Dagnall's doing with all these young bucks. I'm telling you, man, that's different.
I mean, the development on that Thunder team has been crazy too. No one, at least when he was drafted, no one expected J-Dub to turn into the player that he's been. Hartenstein's really came along on both the boards and on offense. He's good at those like hook shots.
Don't forget Lou Dort. Don't forget the all-world defensive player there.
I'm not done yet. But Shea in the fleece of the century from the Clippers in that Paul George trade. My goodness. Casey
Horrible.
Wallace developing into a great defender. Aaron Wiggins off the bench. Isaiah Joe. I mean, if you want to throw in the other Jalen Williams too,
Nice.
just the entire roster. Chad.
Caruso.
This is the one team in the league that I think has more depth than Indiana, and it's more quality depth too. So, and they're going to be the one team that I think can run with them because Indy's been able to just run all the other teams they've faced off the floor so far, and it's really just it's going to be wrapped pretty much right away. I think OKC takes game 1, game 2, and game 3. Indy takes game 4 because for some reason they're really good in game 4s, and then OKC closes them out in 5. Series Rhapsody USA, OKC first championship.
Yeah, I think OKC might win in 7 because we sleeping on this Thunder team a little too hard. Because
I mean Pacers.
with the Pacers, they're battle tested. They've been battle tested. I just think in a game 7, I would probably have to pick the Thunder because of the MVP and what he has around him. They're just bigger and things like that. But we can't think like no slouch. Like this Pacers team is a no joke. Like they took down the Giannis Bucks, which they were supposed to lose to. They took down the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5, and they just beat the Knicks in 6, in which they should have swept them. So that's
what? Hold on, wait. Hold on, wait. Okay, wait. Let me. All right.
The Indiana Pacers could have easily swept the New York Knicks. They just gave game 3 away.
But
yeah, but they lost game 5 by like 20 points.
Game 1, they should not
when I
have
say
won.
swept, those first 4 games is what?
The
But they
first
should have lost game 1 at the same time.
game 1 should have. That was it was because you said it. You said it was the luckiest shot we've ever seen. That was.
Hey, but it went in.
It went. Yes, it went in. But bro, it should have been tied 2-2 at one point. It should not have been swept. That's ridiculous because now you're sleeping on the Knicks. And the Knicks are not
I'm
a
not
bad
sleeping
team.
on the Knicks. I'm saying from what the results were the first 2 games, if Indiana would have taken care of business in game 3 and they would have played game 4 well, they would have been swept.
The thing is about game 1, 2, they had to literally be perfect in those last 2.5 minutes, and every single thing went their way. If New York just made their free throws in those last 10 seconds, which you can't 100% fault them for, missed free throws happen, they lose.
No, I'm not saying that the Pacers should have swept them simply because of talent. I'm simply saying they should have swept them because of what the results were the first 2 games. And then game 3 and 4, they just basically gave game 3 away.
See, the word you said is battle tested. The 2-word whatever you said, battle tested. And series 1 against the Bucks, they were not battle tested because Giannis was still dropping 40 on them every game, and Dame didn't play very well. And when he got injured towards Achilles, and series 2, they had 3 Cavs starters out. Pretty much the majority of the series. Donovan Mitchell still dropping 40. Imagine if he had his other 3 counterparts, Garland, Mobley, and Jared Allen playing well and healthy. In the next series, yes, they won that series. I'm not gonna sit here and act like they weren't battle. I mean, they weren't really battle tested that series either. This is the real test. Like, can you beat the best team in the league? They're playing the best team in the league. They have not played a team this constructed this entire playoff series. I'm not saying that they're a bad team, but saying they're battle tested is a little bit of a reach to me, considering they have not played a full, healthy, like constructed team like this before. Like, if they played the Cavs full health, I wholeheartedly believe the Cavs win that in 6 or 7 games. I don't think they can. That team was just as deep as this Thunder team, just a little bit less to this degree. But to say they were battle tested, I think that's a little bit of a reach. I think the Thunder, they're just better, bro. Like, they're just better than any team that they've faced so far. Obviously, because they're in the finals as well. But they just beat Jokic, the arguable MVP this season. Obviously, he's lost, but everyone thought he should have won it. You know, they beat a young Grizzlies team who was a top 4 seed the entire year until they fired their coach, which
Ja Morant was injured as well.
John Moran was injured, yes, but they fired their coach. That's the
Yeah.
biggest part about this entire thing. If they didn't fire their coach, the Grizzlies would have been a top 3 seed. Okay. And then they just beat the rising superstar Anthony Edwards, who no one was really injured that series. That team was on fire the entire playoffs. Then faced the Thunder and lost all motion, all types of motion. I mean, not Anthony Edwards, the team. I just don't think the Pacers have been battle tested like this before, bro. This team is completely different than anything they've probably ever seen this entire playoffs or in any of those players' entire career. It's besides Siakam. Siakam played the 2019 Warriors, 2018 Warriors, whatever. But this is completely different. I don't think they've been battle tested until now. I think they I'm not saying they got off easy. They obviously they got here with some hard games, but battle test is a reach for me, man.
I would not say that they aren't battle tested because I think playing against New York was definitely a test, playing in the Garden, the atmosphere being crazy and whatnot. However, I'll go back to this again. I don't think it's a good matchup for them at all. It just doesn't make any sense for me to pick Indy in this series because I think they, band for band, OKC just is able to hang with them in a way that none of those other teams, like the Bucks, they can't run with Indy. The Cavs couldn't run with Indy because they were so injured, and the Knicks couldn't run with them specifically just because they're not as much of a fast break team. OKC can run with Indy and they can hang with them. They can get sped up and still be fine.
I agree.
And the Pacers can also play defense and run with OKC.
Not like that though, bro. Not to that degree though.
OKC's defense is just at a different level from where Indy is at.
I'm not sleeping on anything. This is one of the best defenses we've seen in the past decade from a team, bro. Statistically, look it up. Like this team has like what two all defensive players on their team, and then the MVP who averages 2 steals per game. This is completely different than what we've seen. I'm not saying that the Pacers don't play defense, but you cannot sit here and compare the Pacers defense to the Thunder defense. It's completely
different. I could compare the Pacers offense to the Thunder's defense. The Pacers offense is probably one of the hottest in the league since January.
And what is the Thunder? The Thunder's
the second hottest.
Shea has the most 30, 40, and 50 games this year. And Jalen Williams is an automatic offensive bucket considered, and also Chet is a bucket as well. Bro, it's just you see what I'm trying to say? Like they match up, like the matchup for Pacers is just not good because the Thunder are just a little bit higher. Like the Pacers are here, the Thunder are a few steps ahead of them, bro. It's different levels to this, bro. I don't think that they can compare on either offensive or defensive scale. I don't think that's even a conversation to me, bro.
I mean, one could argue maybe that Indy hangs around on offense compared to the Thunder, but it's the Thunder's defense that's going to be the X factor in this series, like we've been saying. Indy's offense is fantastic, but they've been able to generate a lot of open shots and great fast break looks, but I think that ends in this game because the Thunder just have so many great wing defenders that are able to shut down those perimeter opportunities. I think, though, if Indy's probably going to try and pick on Hartenstein a little bit, potentially on the perimeter in this series. So Miles Turner might have a bit of a bigger role on offense, but we'll see.
That's the thing. He's not a Brook Lopez. He's not I mean, Jared Allen was great on the perimeter, but I mean, he's not a Brook Lopez or Mitchell Robinson or even Cat in some situations. Hartenstein can play at perimeter. He's been able to do that all year. He's adapted to this team system, and having Chet out there as well, he can play anywhere on defense. So
I mean, if you need, you could switch Chet onto Turner and switch. Just there's so much you can do, and if Hartenstein isn't the best matchup, you could sub someone else in off the bench to try small ball, something like that. There's just so many different ways you can go with that team.
We'll see. I mean, it'd be very interesting to see for sure because Rick Carlisle is he's proven as a coach to win in the finals, and he's beaten teams that was better than him. That was supposed to be the Miami Heat. Sure, it was their first year together, but they were hands down athletically better than the Mavericks that year, and they beat them. So that's why I can't really say that when people were sleeping on the Dallas Mavericks when they won their championship too. Everybody was like, "Oh, the Miami Heat is going to dog walk." I mean, it's not even going to be close. And Dirk Nowitzki showed up and dropped, probably averaged like 30. You know,
I mean, but there's no Dirk Nowitzki on this Indy team, though. That's the difference. Siakam is not Dirk Nowitzki. He's a great player.
You
Don't
telling
get me
me he
wrong.
can't average
He's not
30?
an all-time great or
No, he's
anything.
not averaging 30 on this team. No, absolutely not. He can average
can't average 25,
20
30 points.
He can
25 maybe, but even then, it's
maybe.
like
30 is ridiculous against this.
they're gonna have to get to at least probably 110 points to win most of these games.
Tyrese can't average 20?
Indy is. They're gonna have to outscore Indy or OKC because they're not gonna beat them on the other end.
Tyrese Halliburton can't average 20?
Of course, he will average 20. He
So that's
absolutely
45
will.
between
It's not about
players.
those two getting their numbers. It's about everyone else on the team getting theirs. Who says Andrew Nemhard drops 20? It probably won't happen. You're not going to get as many of those sensational performances from role players in this series, specifically because there's not a real defensive liability on this Thunder team for them to exploit.
So you said that Tyrese Halliburton can average 20 and
I said he can average 20.
Siakam can average 25, so that's 45 right there between two players. And Dirk Nowitzki was really the only offensive threat that the Mavericks had.
But look at the other side now, bro. This is a complete team. That Heat team had the big three. This is a complete team now. That Heat team wasn't fully complete. Okay,
there were some depth issues on that team.
There's a lot of depth issues on that team. This is a complete team, head to toe starter, bench, coach.
I just can't. I
organization
just on the Pacers, bro. I'm just telling you. I just can't.
I'm not necessarily sleeping on them. I'm just saying, like, being realistic. This team, this is probably the worst matchup that they're going to get so far. They haven't played a perennial point guard besides maybe Jalen Brunson, who was competing with Halliburton but couldn't keep up because his teammates weren't really making shots with him. Okay, and now we get the MVP, who has shut down every other point guard that we've seen all year. I mean, what else? What else can he do? Yes, Hallie's going to average probably realistically like 18 and 10 maybe.
I'm just saying they got the experience to win. So, they got Siakam. Siakam has been there. They have
Caruso's been there. Everybody else is young, but they're better. Who is Siakam better than in the starting five on the Thunder besides like Lou Dort offensively? Even
he's better than Hartenstein, but like that's not even his. He's not meant to be like a primary scorer. He's their center rebounder.
Right.
You telling me Siakam can't go toe to toe with Jalen Williams?
I mean, he can.
Think about that before you say it.
The thing about that is the difference between Shea's output and Halliburton's output as the like first options per se. If we're gonna compare Halliburton and J-Dub as the second option, that's fine. But then we're gonna put Halliburton in the first option slot, and Shea just has so much more of an impact. He's probably gonna average 30 to 35 all series, whereas Halliburton's gonna give you that 18 to 20.
So you said there's no possible way that you could see even Neesmith slowing down.
No.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
No, he's going to get fouled out. That's the fact. That's the issue. Also, if you're gonna guard Shai, you better know how to not foul him. That's a fact. You know that. You've seen it. Everybody complains about it all the time.
You think Carlisle know that?
I hope he does.
I think he's gonna be throwing bodies at him all game.
Foul. Put a hand on him. Foul. Sneeze on him. Foul. What is he gonna do? Get to the line and
let him get to the line, but then you don't have Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe smacking threes. Dort hitting threes.
Why not? Why not?
Because he's at the foul line.
They do it anyways. They at the foul line,
but they're making 2 for 2 almost every trip, though.
Yeah, bro, they go for that's 2 points every possession, pretty much. Like
so
you
can't play defense.
You need to get stops against this.
I didn't say you can play defense on Jalen Williams, but let's be real here. Like Jalen Williams is having a spectacular few seasons here. And I can only imagine if he has a bad series, then yes, then the Pacers probably have the better advantage because the second option is out. But
I'm just telling you that it's more likely that you can see this being a dogfight.
Right, but okay, but then if that's the case, then Lou Dort's gonna lock down Siakam. Like it's that simple. Siakam's not as good as Luka. You know what I'm saying? Lou Dort
in the mid-range.
Yes,
Lou Dort's defense is phenomenal.
Bro, he's an all-defensive player. What do you mean? Even Caruso's a former. He was a Bull. Caruso is a former all defensive player. He can do that too. This is what I'm saying. The depth issues on this team is going to be an issue for the Pacers.
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
I mean, even Cason Wallace is a little shorter, but he's another one of those guys that can lock down some of the offensive weapons, like a Nembhard or a Nesmith, where it's just going to be so much tougher for them to get good looks, which is what they've been able to do to create. In that Knicks series, Nesmith was able to throw off his prayers all that fourth quarter because he was able to get good looks the entire time. I don't think there's going to be those opportunities against this OKC team.
Shooters and field goal percentage wise, he was throwing up prayers.
Who?
He said he just said that Nesmith was throwing up prayers and they were going in, but
at the end of the fourth, a lot of those were prayers.
Yeah, those are not design plays.
He was double clutching some of those,
bro. Like
Steph Curry double clutch before he hits him.
Come on, bro. It's Curry.
Aaron Nesmith is not Steph Curry.
I'm just telling you, Aaron
thing.
Nesmith has one of the best, is probably the best 3-point field goal percentage in the league
in the playoffs.
I think that ends here. Okay, he just has too much perimeter defense.
It warrants for something, but it's not consistent. He don't do that every game. He did that one game, and it won them the game. Okay, like yes, he's going to make some great shots probably, but that's not going to be enough if no one else is able to get to the rim at an efficient rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just take example what they did to the Timberwolves. Everybody thought the Timberwolves, including myself, that the Timberwolves are going to win that series. And they got completely shut down. I thought I'm saying though, a bunch of people thought the Timberwolves would win purely off of their aggressiveness at attacking the rim. What do you think the Pacers do all the time? They attack the rim with Halliburton. They attack the rim with Siakam. Yes, they can hit some shots, but that's the Thunder specialty is perimeter defense. We saw that last series. You saw the series before that, bro. The Nuggets couldn't hit a shot in Game 7. Even Jokic was struggling. The Grizzlies got swept, or gentlemen swept, whatever it was. Man, listen, man. The matchup is an issue. The matchup is going to be an issue. There's no way I can see the Pacers winning this series unless it's in 7 games, unless Shea and J-Dub and Chet all have horrible games within a stretch of those last few games. If the Pacers win, they win in 7. But if the Thunder win, they got to win in 5 or 6. I don't see it going past that if they win. It's going to come down to the wire last game, regardless. So
if they play their way and they have their way against the Thunder, they could win in 6.
That's
a big if, though. That's the thing. I mean,
that was a big if when they played the Knicks and they won. They should have won in 4.
Again, the Knicks versus the Thunder. Who are you taking?
Well, obviously the Thunder. But
I'm saying it's a complete difference.
The Pacers have.
We're comparing apples.
I mean, they use their whole bench.
Yes, bro. But
I'm just telling you, it's not gonna be no dog walk like people think. That's all.
The difference is Thibodeau plays like 8 to 9 players. The Thunder
plays 10 to 12.
Exactly what Dagnall does. He plays 11 to 12.
So this is not going to be a dog walk series.
It is going to be a matchup nightmare for the Pacers, is what I'm saying.
Okay. They just don't match up well. We're not saying that the games won't be close. We're just saying that
fun, but it's going to be a nightmare in the clutch, especially. They're not going to be able to be clutch in that instance anymore.
They're not going to be able to pull off a 12-point comeback like they were against the Knicks or the Bucks or the Cavs. It's just not going to happen.
If you have a deep team like that, you can prevent comebacks very much a lot easier than playing 8 to 9 players a game. That's a fact. That's a known thing. Go back and look at history. Look at what the Celtics did last year. They had players literally surrounding their starting players the entire series, disrupting Luka, disrupting Kyrie, disrupting Lively and Gafford. Couldn't get a bucket off in most of those games because of how deep their team was, and they're able to surround their stars with great role players. That's exactly what the Thunder have right now. And I'm not saying the Pacers don't have that, because they do. But the issue is they're not as good as this deep team. It is that simple, bro.
We'll see. We're going to jump into our next topic. Our last one is the NHL Finals. Well, that hurt. Edmonton leads rematch 1-0. They win in OT. Florida had a 3-2 lead with pretty much the rest of the third to play, but they just lost it. I mean, will the Oilers win this time? We do got some video footage of the overtime winner right here.
There's McDavid. Oh, score! Leon Draisaitl! The Oilers win to Nugent Hopkins. McDavid, in front, scores! Leon Draisaitl, Game 1 hero! Nugent Hopkins kicks it back to Bouchard. Back to Nugent Hopkins. McDavid, in front, scores! Leon Draisaitl!
That's cute. That's cute. That was cute. That was cute. That was super cute, man. Do it again next game, then I'll be convinced. That was cute.
I mean, they controlled the majority of overtime, though. Florida
Okay.
had maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes, but after that, it was pretty much Edmonton's to lose. They had the majority of the attacking opportunities. I would even say they were a little wasteful in those last 15
Okay.
minutes or so. There were a couple of chances that they had. They had a one-on-one with Bobrovsky in goal and missed, just flat out missed it. I don't know what happened on that one, but
completely whipped it. That's all.
I don't know. That game might raise my concerns a little bit for Edmonton, even though they won it, just because they had a tough time closing them out, especially towards the end. Florida was exhausted in that overtime, and you could tell, but they were hanging in there for a while. So game 2 is going to be really interesting to see how Florida bounces back. But I almost feel a bit more confident in them, despite the 1-0 deficit now.
Quick question, Jalen. You worked in hockey, bro. What do you know? What kind of workouts they did? Like, you know how strength and conditioning. I don't know what hockey players do. I know they probably do something similar to football, basketball players to condition and strengthen themselves. Do you know what they do? Because as Chris just said, they were kind of exhausted. I know it's a long season, regardless.
I mean, their top guys, they showed a graphic during the game, too. They played more minutes than even McDavid did for Edmonton. So I think depth might be an issue for Florida.
That is. I'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to ask you that, Jalen. Like, what kind of workouts do they do? Like, do you know? Nothing like that?
I actually don't. I mean, I think I've seen like. I think I don't know if they really work out too much. I think they do a lot of skating and a lot of, hand work with the wrist and with the stick. But the workouts they probably do is something probably similar to football, not as strenuous though, because they're like a high power team. They have to basically have their bodies like basketball players because they're like running, they're sliding.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
up and down the ice and stuff. So it's probably something similar to basketball player because when they take all them pads off. There's some skinny guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I seen Clayton Keller when he got off all the gear, muscle wise, I look bigger than him. Like, and it's wild. It's actually wild. Like when I seen him, I'm looking at him like.
But he's probably strong as hell. You know what I mean?
Strong as hell. I mean, he can definitely take a hit. I mean, he took a puck to the face.
I mean, if you look at Connor Bedard when he was drafted, he still looked like a little kid.
Bro, they gotta practice some type of boxing too. Like, I don't know. I'm not a hockey player. I'm not experienced with hockey, like playing wise. I'm thinking in my head like they gotta be doing some crazy stuff. But anyways, back to the conversation. Yes, Florida has some depth problems. I noticed that around like the second, third period yesterday, and it was like. They like you said, bro, they just looked a little gassed and they couldn't really keep up towards the end of the game. They obviously held in there and stayed in the game regardless. But like you said, Edmonton couldn't close them out, even regardless of them being tired. So just imagine if they were just like a little bit more woke, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit prepared for an overtime match, which I don't think they were.
I mean, not only that, they needed a power play at the end to even get rid of power play and some McDavid magic is what they needed. So if Florida just could have hung on to force a second overtime, there's a chance that off a counter attack or something, they're just able to catch Edmonton off guard. So that game was honestly as much of a toss-up as it could have been. And Florida got out to that lead, or Edmonton scored first, and Florida got out to a lead. Edmonton was able to claw back into it, but I think game 2 is just as much of a toss-up as that was.
McDavid assisted on like 2 of the last goals, and Draisaitl had 2 goals. And then Sam Bennett put up 2 for Florida, and Marchand had put up 1. But when you think about them 2 putting up 3 goals like that, you think Florida wins. But you got McDavid running around the ice like he always does, getting assists, that's going to mess you up badly.
I was sitting here watching the game. He hit the goal. I stood up. I said, "That's cute." That's cute.
Drew will be flaming you right now.
Nah, it ain't none of that, bro. It's game one. I told you. What do I say every time? We do not overreact over a game one. I don't care what sport it is. I don't overreact over a game one. That was cute. Like I said, if the Pacers win tonight, I'm gonna say the same thing. That was cute. Do it again. I promise you they won't. Okay. So Florida, they're fine. They're gonna win in 6 or 7 games. I'm not worried. We're good.
We'll see. It'll be very interesting to see. I mean, it's
good.
What I will say is that they are some small human beings. People be like, "Oh my God, they're a hockey player. They're just built. They're probably jacked." No, they're not, buddy.
They got a lot of
That's because of the conditioning.
Yeah, they
I mean, if you think about it, they're skating miles on miles every day, probably.
I'm like, it's literally like a marathon in hockey, like every single game, the way they're doing it, because they have to skate. It takes a lot more energy to skate than it does to run. So it's like, especially skate up and down, go fast, backwards. You know, you trying to score goals and stuff. I'm like, it takes a lot more out of you to skate and be a hockey player than it is to even run a marathon. So it's like, I'm like, they may not be, they're not the biggest human beings, but they are tough. Now the goalies are huge. The defensemen are huge. The forwards, they're kind of small. But
forwards are small. I realize that the forwards are pretty small. They're fast though, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they got to be fast.
I mean, yeah, that's the biggest thing when you're a forward is to be able to handle the puck well and then be able to skate past everybody. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Cooley's extremely fast and he's a small guy. So,
I wonder
if but the goalies are huge. I mean, the goalies are very big. Those are some big dudes. Like
I want to see how much they squat because I'm curious, bro. I want to know. I just want to know how they work.
Some videos out there if people want to look it up.
I'm gonna have some for either tomorrow or Tuesday. See if I can look something up. See if we can get some hockey workouts going. I might try some today if I can find some. Who knows?
It'd be interesting to see, for sure. But I will want to jump into a couple things before we close and do final thoughts. So one of our miscellaneous topics I wanted to talk about was this. I seen this starting five or that starting five. Now, mind you, these are everybody.
I would need them side by side just so I can get like a comparison, maybe.
Now, mind you, this is everybody in their prime. So you got D Rose, you got Joel Embiid, AI, Giannis, and then you got LeBron. So they're all in their prime. And then on the west side, you got Shea, Curry, Harden, Westbrook, and Jokic. The East is dominating that. I'm sorry.
Who's guarding Giannis?
That's a lineup of like 4 point guards against.
Russ can guard Rose, like not great, but like they can guard Rose. But come on, bro, be real here. MVP.
Bro, they play each other.
MVP Russ versus MVP.
MVP Rose. They literally play each other. I'm not saying that no one is hitting. Like, remember, everybody. No one here is saying that Russ is a bad player. No one is saying D Rose is a bad player. But them guarding each other is a totally different spectrum. Derrick Rose ain't guarding up Russ, and Russ ain't guarding Rose.
I'm not saying no. You're taking that word a little bit to the extreme. I'm not saying he can guard like lock him up. I'm saying he can. You know what I'm saying? Get in his face, make it hard for him to get to the basket. That goes both ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, them two are like going to cancel each other out. But
who guarding Curry?
Giannis and Embiid are gonna have a field day, though. That's the thing.
Who guarding Curry?
Well, it'll probably be Rose guarding Curry. It would have to be because
that's chicken.
Well, then who's AI guarding? Because AI is so small.
That's chicken. The issue is Giannis. The issue is Giannis and Bron.
There's not one person on that guard to guard Giannis.
I don't know who guarded Giannis.
And Embiid's not guarding Jokic isn't guarding Embiid either.
I think we're forgetting the biggest question. Who's guarding LeBron?
Dang. Shea?
Prime LeBron.
I didn't even believe that. My bad.
Prime LeBron.
No way.
Not wide open.
That's the only person I can. Hey, they like the same height. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. Maybe go. Realistically though, Shea gonna get to the line regardless.
He gonna get to the line regardless. But
let me look at this. Hold on. We got. All right. Listen, Jokic and Embiid, they cancel each other out. You know what I'm saying? They
Embiid and Jokic, they cancel each other out because they guard each other.
I think Shea has to guard LeBron. If we're looking at this, look at this. We got
Harden ain't guarding him.
Harden ain't guarding Harden not guarding nobody. All right, be real here.
Harden,
no,
I forget, bro.
Whoever
Who
has
guarding
Harden as a
AI?
matchup, that's an easy bucket every time.
Who guarding
Remember,
AI?
mind you, AI crossed up the best defensive player in basketball at the time when Michael Jordan was playing.
Mhm.
Who's guarding AI?
Nobody.
Curry.
Curry?
Yeah. Steals leader. Come on, bro. Get off that. Steals leader, 2-time steals leader. We're good, bro. Come on, man.
No.
Who guarding
I'm
Curry?
sorry.
For real.
Who guarding Curry?
AI could guard. Jordan couldn't even guard and stay in front of him.
Yeah, I know.
And Jordan was like
All right, how about
multi-defensive
this?
player
How
of
about
the year
this?
in that moment.
How about this? Put dang, let me see. Put Shea on AI. Oh no, you gonna have to put I don't know, man. Who
The
guarding
West
Giannis?
is going to shoot about
Who's
100
guarding
free
Giannis?
throws per game.
Who's guarding Giannis is my big thing. I don't know.
Nobody. Absolutely
Out of
nobody.
all three of those guards, Russ, Harden, and Curry, not one of them are guarding Giannis.
Yeah, Shea gonna have to play the 4. Good luck.
So those
Well, then
were.
who's guarding LeBron?
So there is context to that. Those were the last 5 MVPs for the East,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
the
that's
last 5 MVPs for the West.
you gotta think
East
about
is taking that. East is taking that.
East is still taking it, but you gotta think about it, bro. They got AI in that picture. That was in 2000. Dang.
East needs to step it up.
East is struggling to get MVPs, bro. I don't know what's going on there, but
Hey, but if you think about the last 5 MVPs, that's a super team.
oh yeah. I
That
don't
is a
know.
super
I mean, the
team.
final of this game is going to be about 150 to 145. So it's not
That's
like
gonna be
there's
like-
going to be any shortage of offense.
I mean, Brian just go take it to the rim every time, bro. It's not even gonna be
Literally,
fun.
like, could you imagine Derrick Rose throwing lob passes to Bron?
you could,
Remember, they played each other, and it was literally like night and day. Rose would win, and then Bron would win, then Bron would come back and win again. Then Rose, it was like going back. There was
I'm
series
telling you,
went like
bro.
6 or 7 games.
that was a rivalry we missed out on, bro.
Bro, I missed that so bad, dude.
That
Rose
rivalry.
would have had like 2 or 3 rings.
Yeah, he definitely would have got 1. I'll tell you that. I don't know about 2, but you know,
He would've
it's
got
hard to-
He could have beat that Heat team at least
he
once.
couldn't beat that Spurs team. I'll tell you that. No way he's beating that.
He would have had 2 rings. He would have had 2 rings.
Who against who? That's the hardest. Like that West team. That West is like we've been saying. That West is tough.
Because remember, Rose would have won in like 2012.
That's Spurs.
That's assuming they beat prime LeBron.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they beat prime LeBron, they're beating that Spurs team.
Oh my God! Do you
No,
remember
they're
that
beating.
Spurs
They could beat
team?
the Thunder. I'm not going to argue that, but they ain't beating.
Oh yeah, that was
Spurs.
it. That was the
Spurs
Thunder.
are
That was
good.
it. That was the Thunder.
I
That was the Thunder.
keep forgetting.
Yeah,
I always
I'm
forget
tweaking,
about
I'm
that
tweaking.
thing.
I'm
They would have
tweaking.
beat the Thunder. My bad.
They
I
could have
forget.
beat the Thunder. Yeah.
The
You
next
telling me
year
they couldn't
was
beat the 2014 Warriors?
No, that team was too good.
Nah, 2014 was the Spurs again. The Spurs were
The
twice.
2014 Warriors when they were just like
2014-15 team? I don't think so, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That was a nice team.
Nah, that Warriors team was stacked.
They had a different offense that we had never seen before, bro. That perimeter.
It was
that perimeter
revolutionary.
offense was
you
crazy.
gotta think though. If they came off of a championship, they would have been coming off of a championship. You realize who they would have gotten free agency?
I mean, I understand that, but like,
It would have been a great series. I'm not saying that the Bulls would have dog walked them, but I think the Bulls would have won that series, and then Curry and them would have won the next year.
I don't think they would have. I just don't think they would have won that year, bro. Because
But who else do you think would have been on the Bulls at that time that would have made them like an X
Right,
factor
like-
besides D-Rose? Like, who says they have any of those other pieces that made them so good?
I don't even know who would have went there. Like realistically, like who?
Melo was going to
Because
go there.
LeBron
but they
would get
said
signed
Derrick
back in
Rose didn't come
Cleveland
to the
regardless.
league,
He
so
was the big like
said-
free agency prize at the time.
Melo would have been nice. To have
They
there.
said Melo was going to come. He said that he was going to go there, but people were saying that Derrick Rose didn't want to come to the meeting, and he said that that's the GM's job. That's their job. He didn't go to the meeting and like try to talk to him. Like, hey, I'm the team, because he's the leader. He was the face of the franchise, and he didn't want to.
But who says if he wasn't better at the time, he might have went? I don't know. We can what if
went to
about
New York.
this.
Yeah, that New York
If
team.
Rose would have actually showed up at that meeting like they said he should have, they said Carmelo Anthony was going to sign the next day.
That's crazy.
He said it. He said it himself. He said he was going to sign with the Bulls, but Derrick Rose didn't want to come up, so it felt like he didn't want to be there. He didn't want me there. So it's like,
Probably
So
thought
he
he
went
was
to
going
New
to
York.
sign regardless. Yeah.
could you imagine if you had Carmelo Anthony with a Derrick Rose and and a Joakim Noah with a luau. That
I get it, but bro, like I'm trying to, that offense was different. Like people said all the time, like that playoff run to get to the finals that year was very underrated because of their crazy offense that they had.
oh yeah, no one's sleeping on them at all. No one's sleeping on them at all. But yeah, I mean, it would have been definitely something to see.
I'm telling you, bro, Curry versus Rose rivalry.
I think the best chance for the Bulls to win one would have been that 2012 series against OKC. They ain't beating the Spurs. I don't think band for band they went well enough with them. I don't think they're beating the Warriors either.
I think they could have.
They run
So I
around too
think he
much.
would have
That
had
was the
2
biggest
rings.
thing. They ran around too much.
I think
Yeah.
he
That
would have had 2
offense
rings.
just was free flowing like we had never seen before, and they revolutionized the 3-point shot as well.
Prime Clay could have stuck with Derrick Rose.
Yeah, but this wasn't this. They weren't. They were just coming into being the players they were. Then they weren't like. It was the next year. That's when everybody was like, "Okay, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter."
They won like 67 games that year, though, didn't they?
Yeah, 65, I think. And then the next year they won 73.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's when everybody was like, "Okay, Curry's the best shooter of all time." Like, hey, I'm just.
But
saying.
even in 2015, it was like it's not like they were, they won
They won MVP
55
that year.
games or whatever. They
In
still
2015,
won.
that's what I'm saying. In 2015, he would have definitely won that ring.
I don't know, bro.
I
But
don't think so.
2014, I think in 13 and 14, I think Rose would have went back to back.
Maybe MVP Curry in 2015 is so underrated. No one talks about that year because 2016.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. But we're going to run into our final thoughts real quick. We got 4 minutes. Oh, yay. So we got Wi-Fi back.
How convenient.
That's funny.
Finally. I just heard my air just kicked on and my microwave just kicked on. Like, oh, yeah, we got Wi-Fi. The power's back.
Oh, man. But final thoughts. I'm going back to Whitewater tomorrow. I'm going to cover the Special Olympics. Should be fun.
Congratulations to the UW Wisconsin.
Yeah, shout out my baseball.
That was gonna be the my final thought.
Yeah, man. Shout out let's just come together and just congratulate them, man. That's what's up. We
I mean, I played with some of those guys, and they're just wonderful human beings to be around, especially Daryl and Alex and Eli Frank. I never really got to talk to Dom too much, but I met him last year when I was covering like all the sports and stuff. But yeah, they were definitely that was a very humble group. I loved my time that I had with those guys, and they deserve it, especially Kootway and them. He won MVP. Oh yeah, they deserve it for sure.
Stacked team, bro. Like Chris was saying the other day, head to toe, just stacked, couldn't be stopped.
I mean, remember they had people on the bench that could hit like 200-300, like 280-300. So it's like,
I mean, we would talk about this on a show that we had called Warhawk Talk. We were more concerned about the pitching than the hitting. We knew the hitting was gonna, do their thing every game. Maybe not to the level that they ended up doing it, but they had some pitchers really emerge at the end of the year. Logan Eisenbarth pitched fantastic down the stretch. Kate Hansen was great. Ben Lee was good. Jack Hagan was good. It was a complete team effort, especially in this tournament. My goodness, they broke the run record. They outscored Messiah 39-8 in these 2 games. Just think about that. And this was the championship. This was the championship.
Go ahead.
I mean, they broke. They scored 39 runs in 2 games. The games were over by the 5th inning both days. It was ridiculous. And this was supposed to be the 2 best teams in Division III, and Whitewater just blew them out, pun intended, of the water.
I told people, well, I didn't tell people, obviously. I said to myself, if they would have if they went back to the World Series, they're going to win the whole thing. Because they're not going to, I just think that they were going to have a different level of energy coming into it. Like, I just thought that they were going, because of what happened last year. They made it all the way there, got to Game 3. Sam Payton had a bad error in like right field, and it ultimately cost them the game. It scored it was bases loaded, 2 outs, and I remember him going right, and the wall was there. He might have crashed into the wall, and I think he just misjudged it, and it overran it, and it dropped, and all 3 of them runs scored and changed the whole landscape of the ball game, and they lost. So I'm like, if they go back to the World Series, they're winning the whole thing. I actually got my hoodie on the way. So
Should be back to back.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They should have been back to back, but they had that one miscue that kind of messed them up the whole game.
How many seniors they got? Do you know that? How many seniors they got, Chris?
Let me try and run down the list. Skolin was a senior.
think like
Kuwait was a
85%
senior.
was
Frank
senior.
was a senior.
Kuwait
Hayden was a senior, and I think Daryl Jackson out of the lineup were all seniors.
Yeah.
They'll have Holland back next year, of course, unless these guys transfer up because they're so good.
Yeah.
Kuwait,
Holland
right?
will
Well,
be
I think
back
Kuwait
next
was a
year.
senior.
Hopper will be back. McVeigh will be back, and I think I'm forgetting one other one that might be back
Hopper's
next
not a
year. But
senior.
no, he's only a sophomore, I think.
Dang. Pretty good for a
He got a
sophomore.
beard.
And
He
so
got a
was
beard.
Holland. I think they were both sophomores.
He got a beard that looks like a senior for real. But I think Kuwait's a senior too.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah,
I don't know. I
so
might
like
have forgotten.
85% of the roster is probably, or 85%.
I
of
think
the run.
Cade
is forward.
Hansen was a junior this year too. He was a pitcher. I'm just gonna go to the roster really quick, and I'm just gonna see who's all gonna be back. Yeah, Holland will be back next year. Andy Thies will be back next year. I forgot about him. McVeigh will be back next year. Cade Hansen will be back next year. Jack Hagan will be back. So 2 of the starting pitchers will be back for sure. Eisenbarth will be back. So they're going to return pretty much all their starting pitching from this year. Hughesbo is going to be gone, but he's the only one out of the 4 main starters that they had all year.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. So I mean, congratulations to those guys. They deserve it. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the last game because I was asleep because it happened so early. My time rather. But I've seen the celebrations and I've seen all the pictures and I've seen all the footage and stuff. They actually have a celebration tonight at 7 y'all time, so 8 p.m. Eastern. So if anybody want to go up there and watch it, go ahead by all means. But yeah, so we're gonna end the show right here.
What's under? No way. I think his Wi-Fi just lagged.
Yeah, I think you're right. The worst timing possible.
Your Wi-Fi just went off, bro. Can you hear us?
Yeah,
Keep
can you
going.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. It's because my Wi-Fi got turned on. It went from my hotspot to the Wi-Fi, so it probably disconnected for like a few seconds. But
Perfect time.
it
What's
is,
under?
right?
Yep.
So we're gonna end it there. Like I said, subscribe, like, and share, comment, follow our podcast page and other platforms. The links are in the description box below. Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. If you're on the Spotify, come watch us on YouTube so you can watch us react live for us. We will post reels and shorts of this show. We try to get into polls and question boxes, and you can always DM us on things you'd like to have answered or comments you may got. So with that, we'll let you know. We hope to see you tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. A lot of people's schedule on Friday is our thing.